Hit it, BA.
Hey everyone, this is Georgia from Tiffy.com. Welcome to our weekly show focused on everything iPad, from news and how-tos to app and accessory reviews. This is iPad Live.
iPad Live is brought to you by the Tippy iPad Accessory Store, your one-stop shop for cases, cables, chargers, and much, much more. Shop store.tippy.com. See you there.
It's Sunday, November 20th, and joining us tonight is the co-host of Iterate and the CIO of Nickelfish. It's our own Seth Clifford.
Hey, Georgia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you very much.
Angry, relaxed, calm. What are we to expect in this show?
I think it's a pleasant cocktail of all three.
Oh, I like that. Mix it up.
Yeah.
And joining us is the editor-in-chief of Tiffy.com and my co-host on Zen and Tech, Rene Ritchie.
How you doing, Georgia?
I'm doing really well. I went shopping, bought a whole bunch of stuff. So.
Oh, that is the great salve. That is the panacea. There is nothing in this universe that a good shop can't fix.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, cool. Was it Christmas shopping?
No, it was shopping.
Oh. All right, well, that's much more selfish than I was expecting, but that's good too.
Everything needs balance.
Mine is mine, and what's mine is, and what's yours is mine. Perfect.
That's exactly it.
Seth's laughing because he's married.
Yeah.
He gets it, is that it?
Yep.
It's funny because it's true.
Well, let's get in. We have had Mobile Nations 11, cheap tablets, and cloud music.
Yeah, that was it. We did 2 Mobile Nations podcasts this week. We did the first one with Phil Nickinson and Michael DeGusta about fragmentation, the F word. And then we followed that up with our usual roundtable. Kevin couldn't be there, so we had Adam Zeiss. And Daniel couldn't be there, so we had Jay Bennett. And it was a rip-roaring show. We talked about Amazon Kindle Fire, Google Music versus iTunes Match, Kevin's beloved Porsche-designed BlackBerry P9981. I think it's like the $2,000 BlackBerry. And we talked about how HP still has no idea what to do with WebOS and made Derek cry. So it was a good show overall.
And check it out. And we also have tons and tons of contests. So all you really have to do is head on down to tippy.com/contests, and you can take a peek. Rene, what are some of the contests that we have active right now, plus the new one that we'll have today?
Yeah, well, the contest right now, you can win Spy Mouse HD. It's the new version of the game, fresh for the iPad. Bella Holic. I believe Leanna's still giving away 30 gigabytes of Sugar Sync. We'll have a couple accessories giveaways coming up this week, so definitely tippy.com/contest. Get your free stuff, yo.
And we'll have one more, so...
Yep, we'll have a lot more.
Yeah, well, we'll have a lot coming up.
Yes.
Tons and tons of contests that are going to be coming up. So always, you have one-stop shopping for your contest needs. Head on over down there and enter them all.
Yep.
If nothing else, they're great gifts.
Yep, absolutely. Why buy something when you can win it and regift it?
Well, let's head on over to the rumor mill because there's always something brewing. We have some details on the 2011 iPad 3.
Yep.
Rene, am I going to be excited?
You know, this is sort of
Is
exactly...
Seth actually going to buy this one?
Ooh, she comes out swinging.
So we're coming right out of the gate like that, huh?
Yeah.
You can't win, Rock!
Yeah, okay, George, I'll buy the next one.
Nice. You heard it here first.
That's it. Now he's stuck.
This is basically the same rumor that we heard months ago. I mean, we heard a long time ago that Apple was trying to get the iPad 3 out this year, but the Retina displays were too expensive and the yield rate was too low for them to be able to do it, so they pushed it back to its usual slot in spring, and this kind of reaffirms it. It says it'll be thicker, though, because the Retina display requires much more light to get through those pixels, and apparently Apple's been experimenting with one strong light or 2 separate lights, and if they go with 2 separate lights, it might be a bit thicker. Will that bum you out, Georgia, if it has that gorgeous Retina, what was it, 248 by 1536 display, and it's just a tad thicker than the previous one?
I think that at a certain stage, thinner does not equate to better. And yeah, if the display worked, if it was able to work in very bright light conditions and I was still able to see it a little better than I was with the iPad that I already had, I think that I would be ready to go. Siri compatible.
You think it's going to get Siri? I'm still not sure. The big problem I have with the iPad having Siri is that if you get a Wi-Fi only iPad, it works great when you're at home or school or work, maybe even Starbucks. But the minute you go out and about, suddenly Siri doesn't work because you're not on the network anymore. Or do they think that people won't use their iPad when they're out and about the way they use a phone?
I wonder how much of Siri can just be on the phone or the iPad itself without having to go back to the server for details.
Right now,
how much would it be to download?
Right now, none of it, because the whole reason it's so accurate is because it's going to the server in that gigantic server database. If you put it on the phone, on the iPad, it becomes as accurate as voice control was, which was never that accurate.
Because I'm sure that they could make Siri be able to do certain things without being able to be hooked up to the network, such as make reminders, read back information.
It's not the making things, it's the understanding and parsing your voice and the context. That's the part that it has a hard time doing locally.
I think that with time, shouldn't it be able to have something that's running in the background where it's able to learn, use, and just upload it straight to your own device?
Seth, you're shaking your head like this is some big computing problem.
No, I'm just listening and thinking about it. I don't know how soon we're going to see it on the iPad for the reasons that you've elaborated on already. The Wi-Fi thing alone is something that I think is going to be a problem, like a definite hurdle to overcome. And we've jokingly said like, oh, maybe all the iPads will have 3G from now on, but it really is a block to the way people would use it. And maybe people don't use their iPads the way they use their phones, but I know if I had it on there and I had my iPad out, I would use it without thinking about it. And just the thought of having to take that mental energy to think, oh, do I have a connection? Can I use Siri? That's something Apple probably doesn't even want to make people do.
Sorry, Seth, I'm a Wi-Fi only iPad. You can't use me when you're away from a data connection. Silly, Seth.
How about it just having Siri if you buy the 3G iPad? Would that be the horrible F word?
Yeah, fragmenting. They'd be saying an F word to Apple, I think, if Apple... You're trying to make me...
It would be your choice, though. It would be your choice, just like the 4S is your choice if you so wish to have it. It's a perk.
Yeah, but they're selling the 4S as the new phone. They don't have a 4S with Siri and a 4S without Siri. And I really can't see them putting it on some iPads and not other iPads. I think they would sooner leave it just on the phone than split the experience like that.
I also want to note for the record, Seth, maybe you noticed what I noticed, and maybe Georgia noticed me noticing it, but there was nothing about Siri in this news item, and yet Georgia, again, made it all about Siri.
So
noted.
Yeah, someone has got a lot of Siri lust in her heart.
She's got a nice voice.
Yep. Not an Ingram, but yep. So yeah.
And
I was going to say, that's it. Nothing we haven't heard before, but more confirmation that maybe you're all hearing the same rumors.
Right. They might actually know something that they're dealing with.
Friend of a friend, no names.
Right. And what about the Apple TV, Rene?
This is interesting because it's getting so close to Christmas. Apple usually has an iPod media event in September. This year we had to wait till an iPhone event in October, but at that September event, they've traditionally put out their holiday lineup, all the new iPods. Last year in 2010, they put out the new Apple TV. I think a couple of years ago, they had an October event for new MacBooks, but by the end of October, they usually have their holiday lineup set. And now this rumor is that Apple has... I don't know if Apple has, but some retailers have dropped the price of the current Apple TV down to $89. They've shaved $10 off its head. And they called it the 2010 Apple TV, which I'm pretty sure Apple called it before. But that led to the rumor mill saying, ooh, there must be a 2011 model. There must be an Apple TV 3, 1080p, 1080p. So I guess it's possible, but I think it's getting to be too late in the year for Apple to release a new product.
Yeah. It's still $99 and just the way it's always been on store.apple.com. So the fact that it's been discounted on Amazon really doesn't weigh in too heavily with me. And you're absolutely right. It's way too late in the year for them to be dropping new stuff this close to the holidays. Those events in September and earlier in the fall set the pace for the buying season. So I think it would be extremely unlikely that we would see new hardware. What I could see happening would be maybe a software update that adds some features that then spurs new commercials like, oh, here's all the stuff you can do with an Apple TV, and people just go out and say, oh, I want that.
You mean like a commercial? Apple has done 3 or 4 updates to the Apple TV. Well, the first thing, I'm going to complain about this again. Apple TV has iOS 5, and if you go to the Apple TV About, it says Apple TV version 4. So people think it's iOS 4, but if you hit the button, it says Apple TV version 4, OS version 5 point whatever. Which drives me crazy. That is so un-Apple like. That is so not simple. Just fracking call it iOS 5 already. Beyond that, they had an update to iOS 5, caused a lot of problems for people. People actually they got a screen up like the old iPad screen that said, please plug into iTunes, which was horrible because, I mean, how many normal people have cables lying around or the wherewithal to plug their Apple TV into iTunes? And they did an update to fix that, then an update to fix that update, and now I just got another update when I turned it on today. So I don't know what happened with the current Apple TV updates, but I think they're going to solidify it before they add anything. They better solidify it before they add anything new.
Now, Seth, you still don't have an Apple TV. Would a price drop make it more salient for a holiday gift?
For someone else or for me?
For you.
No, I don't think so. It's not going to do the things that I can do with my Boxy Box right now. So I'm pretty happy with the setup that we have here now, because not only can we stream and do Netflix and everything else, but we can watch, the local media that we have that isn't purchased through iTunes, that I've either, ripped movies or whatever. And I don't think I would really buy it even if there was a price drop. If someone were to get it from me like, hey, I know you like Apple stuff, so here you go, I'd be like, oh, great, thank you. But I don't think I'd go out and get it myself.
If someone were to put it amidst your Stormtrooper pancakes, you wouldn't hand it back. You would.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Plus,
I would find a place for it in my life.
Plus, you love saying Boxy Box. Don't deny it.
I do, Boxy Box.
It's like
it just
Foxy
rolls off
Fox.
the tongue. Now, just to quickly go back to what you were saying about the OS clumsiness, I hear what you're saying in that it's very un-Apple-like, but the fact that this device runs iOS, I think, is really an afterthought to them. Like this doesn't really face the user the way that the phone does and the way updates on the phone do. So I don't think they're really too concerned with the labeling and the naming conventions of the OS itself, because to them, that's just the kernel that runs the interface, and the interface is so different. That's all they want people to really think about or see.
But then why have the two names? Why bother not just calling it iOS 5? Why bother calling it Apple TV 4 iOS version 5? It's just so weird.
Oh, it's totally weird, but it's got to be some internal, thing that they do, like just to keep them delineated in their own minds, I guess. There's probably two very different paths for iOS, and one is this way, where the operating system takes a backseat to the experience, and the other one is where the operating system is the experience, like on the phone and the iPad.
Now, you were saying about the Boxy Box. I know both Georgia and myself, we just use Air Video for that. Air Video finds the media on our server and beams it to the Apple TV, but it's an intermediary step. Is your lack of an iPad 2 at home preventing you from enjoying the full Apple ecosystem that Georgia and I do by birthright?
I don't think so. I haven't felt the giant gaping black hole in my soul that you're describing.
Do you hold your hands up to Tim Cook and say, please, sir, can I have some more Apple, sir?
No, things are fine. We watch what we want when we want. It's working great.
I don't know, Georgia, you believe him?
He seems relatively happy, so we'll have to wait. Yeah. Maybe if they sweeten the pot by adding a little more to Apple TV or lowering it.
Is your Boxy Box 1080p, Seth?
Yeah, it is.
Ah, damn it. All right, fine. You win this round, Clifford.
Yeah, movies look really good on it.
All right.
Well, we have a little bit of more of a look into Steve Jobs and what his vision was for Apple to come. His biographer, Walter Isaacson, had given an interview, which a lot of what we had already discussed, such as how he had cracked already how to bring the TV all around, and he said that you shouldn't have all kinds of, complicated remote controls.
Read it.
Okay. He had 3 things that he wanted to reinvent: television, textbooks and photography. He really wanted to take these on. I didn't go into details about these products in the books because it was implicitly Apple's creations, and it's not fair for the company to reveal these details. But he did talk about the television. He told me he'd licked it, and once said there's no reason you should have all these complicated remote controls.
So previously we just heard that he'd cracked the interface. This adds the layer of him licking the remote controls, which first, he has a colorful use of adjectives. I admire that. But second, it looks like he really is trying to take apart the pain points of a modern television experience. Like, I'm sure, we have a control for our TV, a control for whatever our disc player is, a control for, the boxy box of the Apple TV, and you can get unified controllers like Logitech Harmony, but they work to such a way that I quite often, instead of applying them to the TV, I want to take them and apply them vigorously to the side of my head because they make me so angry. And you have to switch from mode to mode, and the cable box's mode hasn't been fixed since 1937 when Nokia designed it. These are interesting problems, but again, Isaacson is only talking about the things that we know Apple can fix. There's no mention here of the things that are the actual challenge that Steve Jobs said would stop him, which are the cable and satellite monopolies and the go-to-market strategy behind something as big and expensive as a television.
Right. Plus, it's interesting. What about textbooks, and photography would Steve Jobs want to alter, change, monopolize?
Can we do them one at a time?
Yeah, please.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with textbooks. What about textbooks would be something that, now we have, newsstand. We have
the iPad.
iBooks. We have iPads. But
solved. He solved it. That one's done. Of the three, I'm taking that one off the list.
No. He said tackle next. So the iPad was already there. So I can't say that he would said there has to be something more to it.
I think it's probably the textbook. I'm so far out of the college loop that I don't know what the situation is. And I know Chris Vitek, he did a wonderful using your iPad as a university professor article for us. And he mentioned getting textbooks. I think he used Inkling on his iPad to get them. But I don't think there's a unified, amalgamated, really easy central depository for every textbook yet. And the idea of people lugging around all these torn up, shredded, marked over, incredibly expensive books, even in a stylish backpack, probably drove Steve Jobs nuts. And he would have rather you had something like the college iBook store where you could easily purchase all your iBooks in one place.
Oh, yeah.
Seth, do you think that you would be able to study things like in a school-like manner you would rather a textbook, or would you rather something like the iPad?
Well, having used textbooks in college and having used an iPad to read and make annotations and look things up and define words on the fly, given my choice, I would definitely take an iPad experience over a giant heavy book that I've paid way too much for, that when I go to sell it back after the semester's over, I get laughed at because a new edition's come out and basically I eat my investment. I can definitely see Steve wanting to break off, the iBook store in a college direction, because the iTunes U stuff is very successful and there's a lot of really great content there. So I could definitely see how kind of an offshoot, a side channel to the main bookstore, or even part of the main bookstore and just a section underneath it would be alluring to him, just in terms of making things easier and enabling people to do more for, I guess, the same amount of money. Because the textbook, the university textbook market is rough because things are very expensive. But if you could pay the money and keep the text, and you didn't have to lug it around, and you had all of those features, the dictionary lookup, maybe popping over to a web browser really quick and looking something up, making notes, making annotations that sync back through iCloud, things like that. I mean, why wouldn't you want to go and do that? Yes, you won't have a pen to write in the margins, but
stylus.
There are apps that let you do that. Yeah, the bamboo stylus that everybody seemed to pick up last week is great for that. So I would definitely choose that.
Or could you go multimedia, Georgia? And just because a textbook has been text ever since I think Gutenberg created the printing press, they've been, textbook, text means text. The text in textbook means text. But how about movie books and show books and sound books and studying things that move and inform you, almost like a Hogwarts version of a textbook?
I think that I think that Seth makes some really good points of what would be the advantages to moving over to a digital format for textbooks. So it's definitely the cost, it's the weight, it's the fact that you can't resell it back. It's hard to buy. Waiting in line for a textbook or having the library not having them in was a huge pain in the butt. Plus, just the thought of having to recycle all of these books afterwards. So the iPad would be a greener manner in which to do that. But there's also some things that I would not like as much about having a textbook. One is that I like to have my iPad open and to have my text open at the same time. Now, of course, I have 100,000 pieces of text, so I could, of course, have my iPad open. I could have
my other iPad on here and my other iPad over there.
Right.
My Sunday iPad up there.
Not that most people could do that, but the interactivity of working through the textbook, being able to write wherever I so want, not having to look for a specific stylus, being able to highlight easily and not having to, go in, scroll, highlight this area and go back to it. Plus, the manner in which I can tab for textbooks, I had a really nice tabbing system, which in some book states might...
There were a lot of colored tape involved, wasn't there?
There was. And then it's also the fact that I'm carrying around a really, no one's going to steal my textbook. Maybe someone would steal my textbook, but probably no one's going to steal my textbook. But my iPad, someone might actually pinch it, and I'm bringing it over everywhere. Plus,
bless you.
Apologies. I'll have to make sure that I always have it charged.
But if not, paper cuts. No paper cuts. I'm telling you, those things are horrible.
Is a good point. I like what you said, though, Rene, about interactivity. If I was able to, if they could bring it from more than just an ebook, but I could click on anything and have a video on that would play, that would be really nice to be able to have the interactivity. I like what Seth said about being able to Google any words that I didn't understand. Maybe even put them into my own glossary of words that I need to remember would be a cute thing that would be in each book, and then I'd have a repository of all different subjects that were there. Or something even cooler, of which it would tape my classes for me at the same time and then interlace them with the text so I could...
Maybe my iPad could take my class for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cracking the college textbook right there.
But I don't know. I think that the universities they make a lot of money selling the textbooks.
Yeah.
So it would be a hard sell for them. How would they then get... And I don't think that the university... there's a huge... political manner in which textbooks are sold, so I wonder, who gets what from where, but they might
30% to Apple.
Right.
I remember being incredibly upset and annoyed with the purchase and then attempted resale of my textbooks every semester I went to college, because it always felt like I was getting the shaft somehow. So if anyone could make that experience easier and better for people.
You know why you felt that way, Seth?
Because it happened.
Because you were getting the shaft.
Because you were.
That's why it felt that way.
I mean, that, we always say, that industry is ripe for disruption. That's one that is actually now overdue, because ebooks are ebooks are very prominent. There's no reason it shouldn't be going on.
And the other thing that interested me was...
So then what would happen to people that can't afford computers or laptops?
You can always have the option to buy them.
I think,
and then again, with the cost of 3 textbooks would be an iPad. So
the other thing that interested me was the camera thing. We actually asked in the post what about photography was broken, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but we've been seeing these demos lately. I know Lisa Brewster on Twitter was going to run out and buy one. But those cameras, and I forget the name, I'm blanking on the name, that take a photo. They look like a large lipstick tube, and you can take a photo with them, and then later on, you can tap different areas, and it will actually refocus the photo. And they're going to put out an update soon that'll actually make the photos 3D, and you won't have to retake them. It'll just use the same vector direction, whatever, of the photons to build the image in 3D and give you all sorts of everything that you used to have to do to assemble a shot pre-editing can be done post-editing, which is kind of crazy. And it just seems both with taking photos, organizing them, cataloging them, that's another industry where Apple could really innovate and do something.
That just sounds like crazy overkill.
Well, I'm thinking about the fact that it would be able to take a photo, the manner in which you would like it with, the first time. It would be able to know if you're taking, say, you like a certain amount of settings in daylight for a portrait shot, and it would be able to remember that and make sure that it looks like a good shot that you can then deal with afterwards. 3D photography would be very cool, but
But
I
one
don't
of
think
our
that it would really catch
commenters,
on.
I forget his name, I apologize, said that, we still can't take a photo that the human eye can see. I mean, we see so much more than a photograph records, and we've done HDR where it overexposes and underexposes and combines it together, but it's still, it's not what the human eye sees. And if Apple could somehow figure out a way just to take that photo, the photo of what you see in front of you, without making you jump through different exposures or
Do you actually use that, Rene, by the way?
I do use HDR when when there is a huge difference between the light areas and the dark areas. I don't always use the Apple one. Sometimes I still do the old Photoshop one where you manually take a bunch of different light levels and then you combine them together and you map them. But even the built-in Apple one works much better for some photos than the regular camera does.
Right.
But there's just so much. Like Georgia, you take a bunch of photos, you load them into iPhoto. Faces does a little bit of detection, but you still don't have a very easy way of, I want that picture of, person X on day this. You still have to grind through it to find a lot of your photos. It's really not human yet.
Right. So something would be cool also with an image finder.
Yeah.
Or a facial recognition finder for all of your photos right away, that you wouldn't have to go through them.
Siri, find me that picture of Seth eating sushi with Georgia. Boom, there it is. Boom.
Yeah, but that implies that the computer is going to understand the content of the pictures, not just faces. It's going to identify everything in a frame and parse that for what you're asking for. And what if you say like
data center?
Yeah, but what if you say like, yo, get me the picture of Seth and Georgia eating those fat rice rolls. That's not
CHAT?
Fat rice rolls.
That's, there's so many different ways you can describe what's happening in a photograph. I don't know if that's even feasible.
But just
you could end up with some very interesting selections.
Yeah, especially if it goes onto the interwebs to pull them down. But I think there's a lot of it because people kept saying, like first Apple's making a phone, then they put out the iPhone. Then Apple's making a tablet, and they put out the iPad. And now since we have those things, we've got to do the next speculation, which of course is Apple's making a television set. But if Apple does make a television set, right away it'll be, what's Apple's making a camera? Apple's making a textbook. I mean, there's going to be the next thing. There'll always be the next thing. So it's kind of fun to figure out what they could do.
It's kind of exhausting.
The Apple nap, Seth. Apple's going to revolutionize the nap. Look at George. Look how happy she just got.
Oh, yeah.
A one-button nap. Seamless.
You think you've been napping all your life? You have no idea what you've been missing.
Look at these naps. Look at them. They're horrible. If you've got a pillow, you've already failed.
There's so many things wrong with naps right now.
This nap will blow away. Have you looked into your wife's eyes and said, "Are you napping?"
Yeah, I just want to be able to plug in Siri, so Siri will do the work while I nap.
Yeah.
That's what it could be called, I nap.
Nice.
Works out fully. So talking about companies that have been trying all kinds of things for good or evil, Netflix is revamping its iPad app for a new look and more content coming to a Netflix near you.
It's not on my iPad. I mean, I don't understand. Okay, I don't understand this. They're doing the Android tablets first. Android has
Does that burn, Rene?
No, you know what? If they were doing Android phones first, you could make a legitimate argument. There are a lot of Android phones. They have significant market share. It'd be a nice gesture to offer support to the Android phones before offering it to the iPhone, for example. But in the tablet space, there is no tablet space. It's still an iPad space. I mean, maybe the Fire will sell some now that it's on sale, but right now it's still an iPad space. And there's very few Android tablets, very few people own them. And to me, it is just one more in a series of bamboozling, perplexing decisions, starting with the creation and destruction of Quickster and quickly moving down the line of things that Netflix is just failing at over and over again now.
Losing 800,000 people is not enough. What do you think, Seth? What would be the reason for them going in for the Android? Could this be a Kindle kind of thought, or is there more to it?
I think that, if anything, they realize that Netflix on the iPad is already pretty well established, and Netflix's goal is to be everywhere. So there's a lot of places they need to be other than the iPad. And I think what they're probably trying to do is just branch out as much as possible, knowing that the iPad experience is pretty good and it's going to get better, but there's something there for people right now. And I think they're going to try to be on every other kind of device, and that might mean every other kind of tablet other than, the iPad, because that audience is already established. I think they're probably just looking at the market and trying to, cross all their T's and dot all their I's before they come back around on iOS.
Can I say the FI, Seth Clifford?
You can say whatever you like.
FI, because I use Netflix a lot. And the iPad app on Netflix is horrible. It is a web view in the worst Google Gmail app sense of a web view. It loads poorly. It does very few things. It's not as bad as the old iPhone app. The iPhone app has gotten better. The old one was bad, but it's worse than the old iPhone app even. It is stupefyingly bad, and they haven't made it a priority to fix that. I mean, sure, the Apple TV one is fantastic because Apple made it, not Netflix. And I think that should have been a profound wake-up call to them. Go, wait, look a minute, you can make this thing good. Shazam!
Well, that's part of the problem I think that Netflix is going to have, is that while they are everywhere, the interface is completely different on every device you use it. The iPhone and iPad have one horrible interface. Boxy has another one. My LG TV has another one. None of them are very good. And, Apple TV has a good one because, like you said, Apple made it. So I think they're probably trying to get to be everywhere. And then I suspect that we'll probably see at some point an attempt for them to unify the interface at least a little bit, because just visually and how things function, like there are movies that I know are in my queue that just don't show up on some devices that I'm looking at because it just doesn't work the way you expect it to.
So now Phil Nickinson and that poor bastard's wife with the Tegra 2 processor can get a nice Netflix app while the 20 million iPad users are still, pressing that web button and waiting for the thing to see if it actually registered it.
Well, that's the thing though. Like once you're watching a movie, you don't care, and it's great. And all the time you spend up to that point is frustrating because
and friction.
The web view that they use is so completely broken. But once you're watching the movie, you kind of forget.
Maybe it's that they're going to be making them more Apple-esque, and because of that, they don't have to change as much.
Oh, so give the Android people as crappy an experience as the iPad people, and then give the iPad people a good experience? Is that their brilliant strategy?
Maybe they're just going to be twerking it's going to be closer to the Apple experience as it is, with just some minor changes. And because of the release of the Kindle, they're going to,
We see the Kindle app, the Kindle Netflix app. I believe there is one. I believe it's very good, but I believe it's made by Amazon. Or is it the Amazon? Is it the market version of Netflix? I'm not positive. I have to look into that. Maybe Lloyd the droid in the chat room can tell us. I'm sure he's got 17 of those Amazon tablets strung around a necklace right now. But I mean, it is perplexing to me. I don't know. It makes me angry.
I'm excited about the part that says more content coming soon.
We just got a boatload of I don't know if you guys got the same, because Netflix in Canada and the US always has different content, but we got a ton of anime. Like we got the Warren Ellis scripted Wolverine anime cartoon, the Japanese Iron Man anime cartoon. We got the old X-Men show, another old Spider-Man show, a Silver Surfer show, tons of other anime. A bunch of content just like fell on us. It was very nice. I'm going to lose a lot of time watching that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they make it easy to, switch around through, I am good to go for it. And we have a whole bunch of other applications, and some that I'm actually going to, I think, take a peek at. So we have our picks of the app picks of the week. I'm excited from Ali Flowers from our forums has chosen Capture Notes 2. Now this seems really neat because I actually do take a lot of notes, not really using my phone, but this might make the difference. It is, she states, the ultimate in note-taking. You can print, type, audio, and add PDF documents. You can set up different binders, each containing different notebooks. Inside of the notebooks, handwritten notes, even typed notes. So mixed media _ you can flag things. You can illustrate. It just seems like the ultimate note-taking application.
Now, Seth, I know Andrew before. What's the note app that you're using now?
Note Shelf.
Yeah, I know Andrew, one of the big brains behind Mobile Nations, has been loving Note Shelf, and for much the same reason as that. How are you enjoying Note Shelf so far?
Oh, it's very cool. It definitely. I've tried a couple of note taking apps for the iPad, and it's definitely probably my favorite. It can do all kinds of stuff. It's very easy to get around the interface. It syncs, with Dropbox. Well, it doesn't sync with Dropbox. It exports to Dropbox, and you can drop pictures in and draw on top of them and do all kinds of stuff. So it's good. It has a nice wrist protection mechanism in place, so you don't actually smudge all over your page. I've tried Penultimate too. That's another one that people like, but I'm preferring Note Shelf lately.
You going to give this one a try, do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's another app that I was really excited about, so much so that I've actually downloaded, and I haven't downloaded applications in a little while just because of lack of time. It's Icon Project. And with this app, you can put shortcuts into the home screen, toggle specific context from your address book to your book. It can do it. And it's really quite cute. I'll just show you on the screen. So, it has a really nice, simple interface of which you can, sorry, I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but that you can toggle through, change, and write on. So I like it.
Yeah, people have gone crazy over, because there's URL schemes set up for almost everything in iOS, so you can just hit a URL and go straight to an application or an application setting. So all of a sudden, especially with Siri, that became much more popular. So you can just say, you can create contacts and say, Siri, do this, Siri, do that. Because Siri right now doesn't affect settings. So all of a sudden, we've got all these apps now, and people are making icon sets for them. And it's really interesting. I don't know if it beats like a jailbroke SB settings sort of an experience. I don't think so. But it still seems awful a lot like a hack to me, because it'll just take you there. It doesn't really turn anything on or off. It'll just take you to a setting that'll turn something on and off. So it saves you a few clicks, yes, but it doesn't do it for you yet.
That works with me because I'm lazy. We also have short mail. Now, what exactly is short mail? I don't know if Rene or this is from Blaze.
Yeah.
Seth or Rene, do you know what short mail is and can give us a little bit of a scoop into how it works?
If you know Chris, so Blaze is Chris Parsons, one of the awesome Mobile Nations writers and moderators. And this is not quite Twitter, but it's a concisinator for email. If you tend to write long, rambling emails, this will not allow you to do that. This forces you to create emails that are only 500 characters long.
So this is like your mom setting a curfew for you.
Yes, it is a curfew on your email.
For those that like curfews, this is the app for you.
Yeah, if you've been told that too long didn't read, TL semicolon dr, people just ignore your emails because you ramble on. This will help you.
So this more seems like an email that you would give. This sounds like an application that you would recommend to someone else as a hint, like giving them deodorant.
Yes.
Use this.
No, absolutely. If someone gifts you this app, it is definitely a call to action and a social correction.
Right. And Seth, you showed us verbs. Can you tell us a little bit about this? It scares me, just like it brings me back to English class. So.
No, it's not scary. Verbs is an IM client for iOS. It's a universal app, and it is really, really pretty and really, really well done. And it's as close as you can get to having iChat on your iOS devices. I bought it a really long time ago when it came out, and over the summer they released a paid upgrade to go Pro, and I kind of didn't bother with it then, but decided to try it again this week, and it's worth it. It's $4.99 to upgrade, and basically the two big things that you get are that it routes all of your connections through a single whatever channel, or I forget the wording that they use, so that you save battery life instead of having a bunch of different network connections live. And it also stays available for you up to 7 days after you've backed out of the app. So you can keep getting push notifications in, after you've been out of the app for a day or 2 days or 3 days or whatever. So it's really much more like an IM experience than some of the other apps I've used. And just visually, it's really clean and really simple, and I really love the way it looks.
Now, just so that we can be clear, can this work in between? Can you talk to someone that's using an Android phone in comparison to an iPhone, someone that's using an iPad or another tablet? How exactly?
Yeah, you log in with your IM client. We're using Gtalk, so we log in with that account, and then anybody on any device that's using Google Chat can do that. So yeah, there's a couple networks that it supports. I think it supports.
It doesn't support as many as something like Beehive, but it does a much prettier job of supporting the ones it does.
Yes, correct. It only does about 4, I think, but other apps do more, but this one does fewer things nicer.
It's very Apple-y almost.
Yeah,
Apple-esque, clean looking. It looks really clean.
Now, you said that you use a lot of IM for work. I use almost none. I found out very quickly that if I leave IM on, I get so many IMs, and I could ignore them, but then people get mad, but it stops me from working. It turns my productivity into interruption. How have you managed to cope with that, Seth?
I sometimes feel the same way, and sometimes I ignore them. And if I really feel like people are pestering me, I just shut my IM client down, and I do some work. And people will either call me or walk over and ask me a question. And I've gotten to the point where I just don't really care what people think. I have things I need to get done, and if you're bothering me and I need to get them done, if it's real important, you'll get up and talk to me. Otherwise, you'll find out what you need to know later. I have no problem not answering people, closing the client down, and ignoring things when I need to get things done.
I'm using Skype mostly for IM now. We mostly use Skype in Mobile Nations just because it's very easy to switch from IM to call if you need to, if you get tired of typing or there's something you want to pull a lot of people into. So I find that's a big advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like on iChat you can switch to video call or audio call too, but the cross-platforminess of Skype I think is useful.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely helps. Renee, you put down, I don't know if you have a video for this queued.
I do, but it's not playing nicely with our setup today.
They don't like this. Superman Chilingo has the official Superman game.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that it's a Chilingo. So Chilingo, if you're not familiar with them, they used to publish Angry Birds. They still publish Cut the Rope. So you can get a sense for the style of this game. It's very much a casual game. It's very much a 2D game. This is not like Arkham Asylum's version of Batman. This is almost like a classic old school. It reminds me a little bit like the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles and the kind of scrolling adventure games of my Nintendo past. And that's a really good thing because I loved those games. You play the titular character. You play Superman. You get to fly. Or the first thing you do is you get to fly right up into orbit and fly back down. It's well done. It's quasi.
Is it going to take me a lot of time to learn the controls?
No, the controls are up, down, left, right, and you have a couple buttons like fly fast and hit things. So they're deliberately keeping it very casual, gamey style. And it's really hard as hard as it is to find good Superman movies lately, it's been really hard to find good Superman video games. And I can't say that this is the Arkham Asylum of Superman games because it's very different, but it's a great casual game.
The graphics look simplistic.
Yes, they are. It's almost like, it's not quite 8-bit, but it really is old, like Nintendo-esque or Sega Genesis-esque. Right. Like I remember the original Sega Genesis X-Men game. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, see, Seth's eyes perked up at the old Sega Genesis X-Men game.
That game was great.
Yeah. I bought a Genesis just to get that game. But you see, I'm a sucker for Superman. Superman was the second movie I ever saw in theaters after Star Wars. It was the second poster I've ever had in my room next to Darth Vader. I've had a long love affair with Superman. I had a giant size Superman Action Comics #1 when I was a kid. Back when he couldn't fly and could still be hurt by ballistics. So I'm sort of a sucker for the Superman. So take this for what it's worth, but I enjoy this game.
Cool.
And Jared has how much is it, Rene?
It's like 99 cents for the iPhone version and $2.99 for the iPad version. So it's not a universal binary. I kind of wish they would just charge me $4 for the iPad version and make it universal because I'd happily pay it. I don't think that's... but they must have done their business model math. But the iPad version is very nice, very expansive. They call it HD, but it's that just means it's the iPad version.
Right, exactly. And we have from Jared, Ride NJT. So, Rene, this is a trip planner that helps you with...
Yeah, no, is NJT, that's some sort of local transit, I think, for your area, isn't it, Seth?
Yeah, I think it's New Jersey Transit that he's referring to, and he's talking about taking trains in and out of the city. So it's probably just an app for train times and things like that.
Right, because he mentions New York City in there, but not sure exactly how, but it's free.
It's how you get to the shore to do your gym tan laundry.
Oh, come on, man.
You can't just teleport there, Seth. You have to... How do you get you drive to the shore, don't you? You don't take New Jersey Transport to the shore.
Yeah, I drive to the shore, of course.
But if you don't have a car, you've got to take Jersey Transit to get to the shore.
Oh, man, you don't want to take the train to the shore. It's a drag.
All the way from Long Island is a bit of a trip.
Yeah.
We also have from Leanna, makes much sense, Baby Bump Pregnancy Pro. So it tells you the size, what the weight of your baby is, and when you're pregnant, you want to know all of this information. So it gets you weekly updates, baby's progress, tips, recommendations, and a lot of fun. Probably an application that you'd want to get if you're pregnant, though.
So it's
just, a hint there. So I saw Seth going to download, so I said maybe.
Yep, I'm in iTunes right now. Way ahead of you.
It has a journal, a kick counter, contractions counter, videos, search function, photos.
How did people keep track of this stuff before iOS? Was there did they have to use pen and paper, or is that the horrible condition they lived under?
Oh, I shudder to think of such things.
That is it. Plus, here we go. The app that everyone is talking about if you are not playing it, Minecraft. The Pocket Edition is now available for the iPhone and the iPad. Now, have you ever played Minecraft, Seth?
No, I actually haven't.
I have not either. What is it? Why would I be playing Minecraft? Tell me. Sell me. Because everyone on Twitter is talking about it.
Yeah, tell me.
Well,
I want to know.
If you like to build, gather, and create, this is the game for you.
What if I don't want to do those things?
Then maybe Minecraft is not. It is all about mining, crafting, making things, talking with people, killing various things, and making things from that. The nice part about it is that it's a very open system in which you can build and create almost anything depending on your creativity. And you can make things out of different types of mine. Some are more simple, some are not. Yes, if you've never heard of Minecraft before, it's really, old school graphics, like square blocks, 8-bit kind of graphic-y kind of things. So the cool part is that you can invite and play with your friends. They can bring them to your world. You can have, there's 36 different types of blocks. You can build with anything you imagine, randomized world, and you can save multiplayer worlds on your phone. So if you like Minecraft, this would be a game that would be, for you. If you're into Minecraft, then you might want to get the Pocket Edition for yourself.
I might have to try it because all the cool kids are using it.
Well, just to say that you have built it, I know one of the people that I know had built a huge roller coaster, and and you could ride it, you could go all the way through it, and you land into a little mining area, and anyways,
you're saying
it's a lot of fun.
Do it now
if you enjoy it.
Okay.
If that game is not for you, we have an app giveaway. So we have Spy Mouse HD for the iPad. I have not yet played this. I like mice. I like kind of cute little tiny sneaky levels. But I'm not really sure what exactly it is. I love puzzles. So it's puzzling scenarios, complete missions with fingertip control. It's easy to learn.
Did you try the iPhone version? Because this is just the HD version is the iPad version of the iPhone game.
No, I haven't. But this seems like the kind of game that is right up my alley. It's cute. It's simple. It's something that I can pick up, put out, and go through different levels in order to, I believe, help my mouse survive.
It's also got a hell of a pedigree. I mean, it's from Firemint, recently acquired by Electronic Arts, but they're the people who made Flight Control. They're the people who made Real Racing, and they've been working on this game for a long time. They are really psyched about this game. And I have not played the iPad version yet. I have downloaded it. I haven't had a chance, but I did play the iPhone version, and it is gorgeous. I mean, exactly the kind of graphics that you would expect from the people who can never wait to eke every last performance and feature out of any new iOS firmware.
And it's only $2.99. So I would enter the contest if you don't happen to win, because there's 5 lucky winners. So for the contest, so you might as well, I put a link into the chat room. But if you're downloading this, just head on down to our contest area and you can take a look there. And if not, it's only $2.99. So I think that I might take a peek at that.
Do it.
I need some time burners.
Do it.
And we also have app for that, how to schedule employee shifts on the iPad. Seth, do you ever have to shift the people that work with you?
No, not like this, no.
Well, this looks like pretty nice, a basic, simple schedule.
You want me to give you the question?
Yeah, please.
So this is what Leanna. So every week Leanna does app for that. So people, there's so many apps in the App Store that it can be really hard to find what you need. And sometimes you have an idea and for an app, and you just know that it has to be there, and you can't find it. So that's why the universe created Leanna. She will hunt it down. She will knock on the door, and instead of saying Sarah Connor, she will say app for that, and she will absolutely positively not stop until she finds your app. And even if the answer is Apple has it or no one has made it yet, so she will absolutely get you an answer. This question was from Douglas Wilson. I am looking for a basic schedule making app that do not see anything close to what I'm looking for. All I want is a basic weekly schedule with days of the week across the top and employees down the left side. I tried to make my own using numbers, but there doesn't seem to be a way to save the document without the numbers, so you don't have to recreate the document every week. Any suggestions? And oh boy, does she have suggestions. That was your cue, Georgia.
Sorry, I actually wasn't sure if I lost complete sound for a second, so I had like the stunned look like, did I lose sound or did that actually
No, you were hoping that I'd stop talking, and yes, it was true.
No, I think that I actually have to be scheduled in because sometimes I share a room. And I like this application quite a lot. My only question would be if that will go through to people's because I have to usually have internet connection in some locations where I'm working. I don't have that. So is this something that can remotely go from my computer to my iPad or my iPhone?
Will it sync, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
I think this is just very specific for making the app she chose is Shifty for iPad. It's a scheduling app for small businesses.
I didn't say it said Shifty at first.
No, what do you think it said?
I don't know.
Okay. For small businesses and individuals, after entering all the information that rarely changes, Shifty will, you can just a matter of drag and dropping patterns in. So you can check it out in the App Store. You can just go to tippy.com/apps and check it out there. But I like the fact that the iPad is servicing all these niches. Like someone runs a small business, they need to schedule for people. Boom, there's an app for that. You don't have to do all the work. You don't have to maintain tons of numbers. You don't have to go and buy an enterprise solution with the licensing fees that go with it. Go to the App Store. There's your app. You're done.
And Allie says that she uses it and she quite likes it.
Ali Kazmuha, our awesome ninja.
Yes, she does.
She schedules the other ninjas using Shifty for iPad. That is fantastic.
Yes, exactly.
Your assassination is at 3 p.m. Your other assassination is at 4 p.m. Get on it.
Can I show off our next giveaway?
Sure. Is it Seth?
Okay,
we give away Seth?
No, no way. We're fighting to keep Seth. That's it. We're just keep it up. Here we go. I'll show you the box first. This is the Wave. So here we go. This is the Wave in itself, and it is a aluminum iPad holder.
It looks hot.
Now this will work not just for the iPad, but it'll work for any tablet that you have. So if you buy
if you get a discount book for $200 next weekend, you can use this.
Exactly. Well, this is the way that it works. So you just lift it up. It's beautiful looking in the first. It's very Apple-esque. Has little rubber feet, so it sits down really well. And then you can just place your iPad on it depending on what angle you so wish. And because the rubberized feet, your iPad stays exactly there. So you can type on it really well, and you can move it to whichever angle you so like. And usually when you have these type of holders, this is quite strong. It's not going to move around. It moves if you want, but it does take a certain amount of strength. so that it'll stay. And this part as well is rubberized with little tiny, I'm going to put them a little closer, little tiny grooves, which will keep your tablet device exactly where you so want it, and the same thing that's on this section here. Now, we're going to be doing a contest to give one of these babies away.
Nice.
But I have to say, it is absolutely amazing. Really worthwhile. I absolutely love
How long
them.
have you been using it? Are you using it a lot? What kind of situations do you find yourself using it?
I've been using it all the time. I've been using it at home, on the table while I'm eating, because I like to have the one thing that I don't like about my iPad is most of the holders were big. And the second thing is that I like to be able to see. I don't want to have to hold it and deal with that. So that was the one thing that I did not like about it. And it also allows me, it frees up my hands. I'm able to eat. I'm able to surf. I can type onto it. And I like the fact that I can change the different types of angles of which I'm going to choose to use it very, very easily.
Jessica in the chat room is saying it looks perfect to use with a Bluetooth keyboard, if that is how you rock your iPad data entry.
You can, but you can also type on it, and it is easy to type with, which is something that's really, really nice. And we'll have a link to the site that we have from it. One second, let me just take a peek. I have it here, and it's from Choinks.com. So we'll take a peek to that. There's one thing that I do have a problem with, because you can use it in either horizontal or vertical modes that you want. But if you're going to have it in horizontal, pressing the home button does make it tilt and move a little bit.
I've had that with the docks, Apple docks too.
So it doesn't stay really steady for that. You kind of need two hands if you're going to be pressing the home button, because it goes a little bit. Not a lot, not so much that it's going to move, but it wiggles a little bit. Besides that, it's really stable.
Use your gestures.
Use your multitasking gestures.
That's true. Good point.
Boom. That's why we have Seth here, to do the brain gym.
All done. All
You're
done.
welcome.
And it's beautiful. Like, really beautiful. I have to say, we try out a lot of different products, but this one is well worth it. And how much does it cost? It's $40. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And well made. It's sturdy and beautiful. So we're going to be giving one away.
Very nice. I approve of this message.
Yeah, really, really nice.
All right, awesome. We have some forum stuff for you. Chris put together a great From the Forums post, iPad 3 rumors. We've also added some new forums. We're going to be adding several more new forums, but basically, we talk about devices, we talk about apps, but we never really talk about how everything works together. So we created a bunch of forums based on people actually using their stuff. And I really like these. So they're called our iPad and iPhone in Action forums. And we have one for business and enterprise users. We have one for books, magazines, and comics. And we're still discussing the Steve Jobs biography, our book club. Every month we're going to pick another book and have a book club about it. We have a new one we just added for TV and movies. So if you're watching Netflix, or you're using iTunes, or however you're using like a broadcasting app, however you enjoy your TVs and movies on your iPad, we're also talking about favorite movies of all time, favorite TV shows. We have one for foodies and for dining out. So if you went to a great restaurant and took photos of it, you can share them there. I've got a couple recipes in there. I have my healthy-ish chocolate peanut butter pancakes, which you really have to make now. Like, pause this podcast, go look at the recipe, and go make these pancakes. I also put, from Zen and Tech, I put our morning smoothie recipe in there.
Cool.
So there's a photography and videography forum if you're making movies with your iPad, if you're taking pictures, how to do the best job you possibly can with them. I really, really love these forums. If you haven't already, forums.tippy.com, go there, get involved. We've done a ton of giveaways. There's a music, DJ, and mixin forum. We gave away an Apogee last week. Just check them out. Check them out now. I'm tired of talking about them. I want action, damn it.
We also have our tips.
Yes.
And I've been sending more and more people to our tips because we have everything. So I had a friend of mine who just got their iPhone 4S, and don't shriek, but they didn't know that they even had Siri.
Ah!
I know, Seth. I know. So I said, I'll send you the link so that they can take a peek at all of our Siri goodness.
And we have Andrew Ray did an awesome series of tips on Notification Center, how to set up Notification Center, how to do lock screen info, how to keep private information private if you do use Notification Center. Leanna did a series of photography tips using the new iOS 5 photography options. Really great stuff. Tippy.com/tips.
Tippy.com/tips. Take a look right there.
Take a look at us now.
I think that we did a great job. We went through everything on the show. Seth, is there anything that we forgot?
No, I don't think so.
We fought for the user, Seth.
We always do.
Yeah.
And we won.
Tron!
Well, I would yes, we will have a Zen and Tech coming up, dealing with your family over the holidays. Oof, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Some tips to make that a less painful experience.
Does it involve not dealing with your family over the holidays?
Well, everything is everything's within, reason, of course. Seth, how do we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Seth Clifford. I'm on iPhone Live and Iterate with Rene and Mark Edwards of Bajango.
Tomorrow?
And if you want to check tomorrow, yes. And if you want to check out some of the apps and sites that we build,
everyone say it together.
nfidm.com. We're Nickelfish, damn it.
Damn it. Georgia was slow.
Love it. Sorry, I was too excited because it's so cool. And Rene, how do we find you? Oh, and thank you, by the way, Rene, for all of the. I have to say, I'm so excited with the manner in which the new podcasts are looking. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, we should point that out. If you are listening to the show, you can also watch it now. You can go to YouTube, youtube.com/mobilenations, or you can go to iTunes and you subscribe to almost all of our shows in a video format so you can watch along with us. And pretty soon we'll be not only talking about apps, we'll be showing them to you during the show. Big things ahead.
Yeah, which will make the experience completely different.
Yes. Smell-o-vision. No, not really.
Right. So if you have no clue how cute this wave actually is, you have to take a peek. Take a look at the video. How do we find you, Rene?
You can find me at tippy.com. You can find me at mobilenations.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Rene Ritchie. You can also find me on Zen and Tech with the lady to my left, right, somewhere around here, Georgia.
And I'm Georgia, and you can find me on Twitter at GeorgiaTIPB. You can also find me on the website, www.tippy.com, and of course on iPad Live, iPhone Live, and Girls Gone Gadgets.
#1 in iTunes last week, thank you.
Yeah.
Featured on the iTunes front page and #1 gadget podcast.
Very cool. We'll be doing another one really soon. And Zen and Tech, which will be coming up later, like in a few minutes.
Yes.
So stick around. You can reach all of us on Twitter at Tippy, or you can email us at podcast@tippy.com. We love to hear from you, so please do, and leave a comment on the website when the show goes live. We're here every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. GMT, in our companion show, iPhone Live, Rene.
It is on Wednesday nights, same bat time, same bat channel.
www.tippy.com/live for all our podcasts, including iPhone Live, iPad Live, Zen and Tech, Super Functional, Iterate, Girls Gone Gadgets, and more. See mobilenations.com, and if you haven't already, subscribe to all of our shows on iTunes and leave a rating, please. Helps people find the show and means a lot to us. If you have never yet, please come and join us live, and you can chat with us. Thanks so much to the Tippy iPad Accessory Store for sponsoring the podcast, and to everyone who showed up live for the chat. Stick around. Zen and Tech is coming up next.
Yeah, you are the best people ever. We heart you.
That we do.
Less than 3.
Less than 3 you.